Boy, not whistling because it's a good thing. People like take omens on whether I'm whistling at the beginning of a video or not. I'm going to do that in general, usually in deep thought. Do it before a video. Greetings. I keep an eye on things. It is the case, and absolutely everyone will agree with me on this, is that the people in charge, or at least they think they're in charge, of you and me, regardless of what country that is. There's regular intelligence, there's extremely unintelligent, and then the people that think that they have control over your lives are like way down here. Very unintelligent. One of the things that they make is, mistakes that they make is that, and of course they're not sharp in general, but one of the things that they do is they engage in boulderization. And that's where you try to hide stuff from people. And really wise detectives and people with sharp minds, kind of like reading body language. Someone will say yes, but shake their head no, or someone will say no, but shake their head yes, for example. You're reading between the lines. And one of the earmarks of extremely unintelligent people is that they engage in boulderization. It's kind of like verbal body language. And of course they plug in this information into algorithms, and it searches out information, and it will post things, and it looks like it's real, except, and I keep an eye on this. This actually happened about 2.5 years ago, when people started things, saying things were going screwy, and like, 20-year-old guy across the street all of a sudden keeled over. Yeah, and then there'd be all these comments, and I could tell. There's certain things that artificial intelligence is really bad at, and that is the extreme nuance of the English language. It can be grammatically correct, which AI is, and yet it will miss the mark. It's artificial, kind of like synthetic things. It's like, well, it's just like the original, the real thing. It's like, no, I can tell the difference. Anyway, the AI, I've picked up on something that I haven't seen in a couple of years. And I knew this was coming. By the way, everybody thinks FDIC, like my bank is insured by FDIC. I don't know if people know this or not, but the statistical percentage, the fact of what they can cover, if there were a run, any type of scare on the banks, is 1.5%. Why? FDIC insured, there's nothing to worry about. I don't know why people get, well, I know why. It's just lack of understanding. And actually the amount of time that they have to pay you back is absolutely astronomical. You will die of old age. If there's ever a run, I mean, you're just out of luck. I've said for years that nobody should trust the bank, and the only thing I actually keep in a bank is just the minimum amount to pay the bills. It's already digital fiat currency. I mean, I know you're going to say this, but your money in the bank it's not actually there. I mean, you could have it in a safety deposit box, but I mean, is it still really yours if you have to beg permission to get back to it? I don't tell anybody what to do, but I've noticed something really huge, and it's actually been getting bigger, and I've noticed it on Facebook, and I've really noticed it on Instagram. This is where government entities and the powers that be, they plug in the response algorithms into these AIs that seek out where people are talking about certain things, and say, oh, that's totally untrue. Banks are FDIC insured, for example. And this happened 2.5 years ago. I'll let you figure, and I talked about it then, where these bots were telling, oh, don't worry, it's total bunk. It's like, yeah, no, it's not bunk at all. And these replies are, I would see the same person. It wasn't a person at all. It was a computer algorithm on various things, talking about the same thing. And it was completely synthetic. I staked my life on it, 100% synthetic. Now I'm seeing it again. And where I'm seeing it from these bots, and this is boulderization. Like I said, a detective, one of the things a detective, just like body language, will listen to in a case of a criminal is not what the criminal says in an interrogation, rather what they don't say or avoid saying. Kind of is blatantly obvious if you have a sharp mind and you know what to look for and where to look for it. It's really, really hot and heavy on Instagram. Anyway, these bots are attacking any and all Instagram posts that are warning about your bank. You know, it's, oh, don't worry about that. You can't keep your money in your bank. You shouldn't worry about it. That's what these bots are telling you, which tells you, due to boulderization, what is actually going on and extremely likely to go down. I don't know if you know about fractional lending. If you actually look into fractional reserve banking, step one, you deposit $100, for example, earning 0.01% interest rate. Step two, the bank lends out 95 of your bucks of the 100 you deposited to your neighbor, charging 20% interest. Step three, the bank rinses and repeats the same thing to 10 more neighbors, turning your $100 deposit into maybe $1,000 worth of loans. All of this is incredibly legal. The one thing that the Fed and any and all governments are afraid of is any idea of people taking money out of the bank. And I am certainly, and I do not pretend to tell anybody what to do with their own finances. I will tell you flat out, if you trust your own bank, it's just flat out crazy. It's just nuts. Nobody in anything in life should have all their eggs in one basket. It just shouldn't happen. I am not, nor do I pretend to tell anybody to invest. I'm not talking about investing. I've said a million times, people were telling me about silver. A couple people told me last night, because I was talking about silver in a video a couple days ago. I was like, I was investing in silver when I was a teenager, but it wasn't investing. I didn't know back then about asset diversification. Then it wasn't an issue, but now it is a serious issue. Everybody loves to talk about fiat currency. This is all true. But silver and gold are incredibly poor investments. Silver ranks top 3 or top 5 worst investments possible. That's not my position, that's a fact. It's called asset diversification, which is just a fancy way of saying don't have all your eggs in one basket. Nobody should divest their assets if it's beyond, like they say, and I don't gamble at all. There's an old saying, don't take any money to Las Vegas that you can't afford to lose. Nobody should actually engage in asset diversification past what they're able to absorb if something happens one way or another. I mean, it's never been the case throughout all of human history that gold or silver has been zero. But I mean, you could buy it today at $22 an ounce. Today it's $21.40 an ounce. And it could drop back down to where it was back in October of last year. We're at $16.50 or $17.50 an ounce. Like, oh my God, I bought 2,000 or 3,000 ounces of silver at $22 an ounce, and now it's $17 an ounce. And you could hold on to it and hope that it goes back up. Everything that's going on, I've never been more certain in my entire life. I've never been wrong about land. I'm happy and proud, and I haven't been investing in land since I was a young person. I should have stayed in land because I literally within 1 week made my normal 1 year's worth of income within like 3 or 4 days. I should have stayed in land. I'm proud of the fact that I have a 100% track record on land. Last time I was investing in silver, and investing once again is the wrong word, asset diversification, but when I was younger I was not thinking about asset diversification. I had and still have somewhere in the basement a bunch of books on precious metals, where to put it at. And of course, back then it wasn't an issue to buy paper, gold, and silver. Now it's completely unfathomable to think of having paper, gold, and silver. It's like, oh, this, it's in a vault in Zurich, Switzerland. It's right here on my computer that I have it. It needs to be in your hand, in your possession somewhere, in your vault, so on and so forth. I've never been more certain of the fact that silver is going to shoot up at a minimum of like 40. It's going to come the case when people realize that there's all these jobs out there right now. We're actually in a recession. We're headed for an absolute depression. All the wisest experts out there say the same thing on this, and I'm not telling anybody to stick any of their money or gold or silver. Gold right now is way too high. It's probably going to shoot up to $2,500 an ounce. Silver's probably going to go up to somewhere around $45 an ounce, if not higher. But it's about asset diversification. Now, you don't have to have a bunch of money. I am the furthest thing from a person that has money. 90% of the money that I actually have, money, the actual worthless paper technically it's cotton, not paper. The worthless cash trash. Cash is trash. This is going to go to the IRS next month when I get back to Florida here in a couple weeks. But you have to have a safety net. I mean, if you have nothing, especially if you're renting your apartment or, you have a mortgage on your house, you have to have a safety net of some kind. Never in my life have I ever seen, I'm 50 years old, not that old, but where it's incredibly important to have asset diversification, we have to have a safety net. Everybody thinks their money is in the bank, and it's not. It has been the case where rich people, for example, wanted to, for whatever purchase, or to stick in their safe, like $250,000 or something. You have to order it, and they had to wait many, many weeks. I encountered this once much earlier in life, not $250,000, but it was over 100,000. That's been like 20-some years ago, a long time. I had to order it. We had to wait weeks. That was even 20-plus years ago, a long time ago. It's gotten worse since then. But if you're trusting your bank, that you have your money there, there's that old movie, The Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart, It's a Wonderful Life. Everybody gangs up on the Bailey Savings and Loan, and they all want their money, and George Bailey, played by Jimmy Stewart, no, your money's not here, it's invested in Rob's house, and even though it's a savings and loan, the same is true now. They didn't have fractional lending back then, I don't believe, like they do now, and of course that was a movie, but your money is not in your bank. It says right here in my computer that says I've got $130,000, not meaning me, I wished I had that kind of money right now, in my bank account. It's like, it's not there. Please, God, if you take my advice on anything, please don't have all your eggs in one basket. Don't trust your bank. Oh, it's FDIC insured. FDIC currently, of what is in people's bank accounts across the United States, will only cover 1.5%. And the terms, the fine print of how long, and I've talked to several rich people. I actually know some really, really rich people. One person bought a bunch of land off my recommendation. And it's just up the street from my land that I bought in Pikeville, and this is the piece of coal which came from my coal mine. My rich buddy's land is just up the street. He's really, really tight guy, very, very, very tight with his money. And I was talking to him about FDIC, and he knows a lot about FDIC. I wish I could have him on in this video. The horror stories behind the fine print of, yes, bank's FDIC insured, you got nothing to worry about. It's like, yeah, you do. I'm not a fear monger, but if you think your money is safe because your bank is FDIC insured, it's just completely ludicrous. It's just nuts. Anyway, I'm telling you this. I'm seeing a lot of bots on many different postings for people warning people, like, don't have all your eggs in one. Get your money out of the bank, or not all of it, but a great deal of it. And there are all these, and I'm as sure as sunshine, right as rain, 100% positive, 200% positive, that these are bots, and they're acting the exact same way that I saw back roughly about 2.5 years ago. Yeah. Everybody was telling the truth on Instagram about certain things that I won't talk about, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. And these bots, oh no, that's not true, I just bunk. The exact same thing is happening now. So anyway, the people that are directing these bots and algorithms are trying to ease people's, fear is not the right word, trepidation, warning signals, spidey sense, like, maybe I shouldn't have all my eggs in one basket. Maybe I should engage in asset diversification. Silver is not an investment, once again. It is an asset diversification. The wisest minds in finance will tell you you should have your assets diversified in things that the government can't print. Land. Gold, silver. Gold right now is a horrible idea. Anybody that says crypto, I'm sorry, but your brain is cracked. I will say this again, and I'm 1,000% right. If the poop hits the fan, there's nothing that will vanish away like a fart in the wind faster than crypto. It needs electricity for it to work. Last I recall, when the poop hits the fan, the first thing to go is electricity! Needs electricity to work. Needs a network to work. Like, one of the most fragile things on this earth is networks. Electricity, networks, the internet, yeah? And a pack of fools to believe in it. I can see when, like, if and when the poop hits the fan, and the most evil thing that could happen to society, which is basically CBDC. And CBDC is rolling out. That's not like any sort of conspiratorial nonsense. It is rolling out. There are tons of government confirmations of this from around the globe. If and when it hits the fan, I can see somebody like, say at my cabin where there's no electricity, I can see paying Farmer John across the road for seed or chicken feed or something like, I'm going to pay you in Bitcoin. I'm like, what? There's just no electricity, there's no internet, there's no network, and Farmer John can't do anything with digital farts. He will, however, take silver. Yeah? Or other things. I call it HVL. HVL, excuse me. HVL stands for high velocity. I'll let you figure out what the L stands for. Pew, 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 pew. It will take freedom seeds. They're also too called here in the United States, called freedom seeds. That has always been a form of money. So is food itself. So is alcohol. There are many different forms. I'm not saying like take $10,000 out of your bank and buy a bunch of booze with it. I don't even drink it all. I have like 64, 65 bottles, the big freaking honking 1.5 liter bottles of vodka in the basement. I don't drink. Vodka has about 1 million uses, including canning. You can can all sorts of stuff in vodka, especially berries, all sorts of stuff, so it won't rot. It's a cleaner, it's a disinfectant. It is its own form of money. Well, Farmer Bob, I'll trade you this bottle of 1.5 liter bottle of vodka for your giant bag of chicken feed so I can feed my chickens. It is a form of money. It has always been a form of money. Think of the times back in, say the times of Jesus, for you will. I don't have to go back that far. The Roman, what are forms of money? Alcohol, gold, silver. It'd be the same thing. I'm telling you, what these bots are doing, it is hardcore, flat-out boulderization. They're trying to block people from being, not fearful, but slightly concerned, more than slightly concerned, about what's coming. And these people are being engaged by the government entities. I mean, that's not crazy or conspiratorial, it's fact. The only people that actually control, I don't know which government, I'm not going to speculate on that, but it is definitely government level. You cannot get like zit-faced computer hackers in the basement to run countless thousands of bots with high level and high degree of accuracy. So you really have to look and tell that this language is totally synthetic. This reply is completely synthetic and computer generated. It looks really good, but I can see right through it. Anyway, take that for what you will. Make your own decisions. I don't tell anybody what to do with their life because doing so is uncouth, unprofessional. Yeah, I know I still have a scar on my face. It's getting better where I got my face cut. So anyway, I will catch some of you in Florida. Have a good one. Goodbye.